Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs down Ceylon, which is a goods harvesting game where 2 to 4 players are going to try to corner the tea market in 14th century Sri Lanka, which at the time was known as Ceylon. And the way it works is, on your turn, you are going to play one of the 3 cards you hold in your hand to do an action. And then everybody else is going to get to do the other action on that card. So I'm first out of the gate, and I could play this to either get in good with local counselors or get myself some technology, or I could play this to go on ahead and create some new tea fields, or I could harvest existing tea fields. I could create, or I could fulfill contracts. So I got to play one of these cards, and I think right off the bat I'll just go on ahead and start trying to get in good with the locals. So I play this, and the way I play this card says what I can do. If since I am the active player, I'm saying I can do this action, and everybody else, every other player, will get to do this action. Although either myself or the other players, instead of doing the core actions on this card, could just get 2 rupees or move around on the board. And like if I played like this, I'd give myself access to the technology action and giving my opponents access to their counselors. So I'm going to do this. It cost me 5 rupees, and I started with 15. And let's see, I started out over here in the Rahdo district where this special power was available. As you can see, there's a bunch of other tiles. Every time you play, you're going to get a different combination of player starting special abilities and board counselor special abilities. So anyway, I'm going to get in good with him, which means I mark that. And now, for the rest of the game, I have access to this power. My warehouse can store 6 T cubes instead of 5, the normal. And also, because I've gotten in good with the counselor, at the end of the game, I'll be able to compete for the area majority bonus of the Rahdo region. And those points for area majority can be a lot. 10 for first, 6 for second, 3 for third, and 1 point for last place. Okie doke. So, I have done that. And now, every other player in this 2-player game, my one opponent, Jen, could either do technology, increase their technological standing, or forgo that and move or get some money. Jen is not going to bother with technology right now. She's just going to move. And she'll just move 1 space, because moving 1 space is free. But if she wanted to move 2, to say, climb all the way up to the top of this little mountain here, it would cost her nothing to move the first. The second space you move costs 1. The third space you move costs 2. The fourth space you move costs 3, and so on. So it gets really expensive if you got to move fast. But Jen's happy just to move 1 space, because that was free. All right, and so my turn is over. I draw a card. And it is now Jen's turn. She's going to play a card and thereby giving me access to actions. Since Jen has now moved into a new little region, and in fact, an entirely new district, she would like to plant some crops here. She has 2 cards that will let her do it, but she's got to think about what she'll let me do. If she plays this, then I'll get to harvest. If she plays this, then I'll get access to technology. So, or if she plays, this, she gives me access to harvesting, or she could harvest herself and give me access to completing contracts. And so that's always a big consideration. Jen does want to plant, and she wouldn't mind if I harvest. In fact, she'd kind of like it. So let's see how this goes. Jen has chosen this for herself. Remember, she could have played to choose this for herself instead. And Jen goes first. She has to pay 5 rupees. Everything costs 5 rupees in this game. And that lets her take the next tea leaf on her player board, and in doing this, she has opened up another spot for shipping contracts. She can have shipping contracts with 2 different companies now. But more importantly, she has now set herself up with her second field. And this is in the Midlands. At the beginning of the game, everybody chose a starting lowlands field, and now Jen is in the Midlands as well. Okay, we put her standing right there. That cost her 5. And now me, on her turn, I can harvest or I can make money or move like she did. Since Jen's just kind of moved into my neighborhood, I'm going to harvest. And what that means is I get more tea. And you need tea to complete these contracts, which is the main source of points. These points you get throughout the game, and then there's also a ton of points to be had at the end for majorities. And Jen has just taken the majority of this region, and she already has the majority of this region, but it doesn't do her any good to have a majority if she doesn't any good with the local counselor, who also gives her a special power. Anyway, so I'm going to harvest. My own tea leaves here field is in the lowlands, so I get a second black cube. Everybody starts with 1 lowland yield, and now I don't have to, but I am going to harvest in Jen's backyard as well, because when you do the harvest action, you can take a T cube for the zone that your character is currently in, plus every adjacent. So I'm harvesting Jen's area, which is in the Midlands, the middle lands, and so that gave me a green cube. Okay, but Jen gets something as well. Whenever another player harvests your terrain, you get a point. So Jen just scored a point, but more importantly, I've got now 2 black and a green cube, which means I am set to complete this particular contract that was out as part of random setup. So that was the end of Jen's turn. She gets a new card. It is my turn again. And so what do I want to do now? Well, I'd like to fulfill this contract, which means I could play this card, giving Jen access to another planting opportunity. In fact, yeah, that's what I got. Or I could play this card, which would give Jen access to technology again. Well, interestingly, since Jen cannot do this action because she can't plant because she's already in an occupied space, I'll go on ahead and play it this way, upside down. And I'm going to go on ahead and do the core action. Instead of making money or moving, I'm going to complete a contract. I spend all this tea, and I ship it off to company number 1, which either scores me 3 points or $10. I think at this point, I'll take the $10 because you really need a lot of cash. Most of the actions you do really stop you dry. And at the end of the game, there are majority points to be had, whoever has the most money. So I have now gone in business with the number 1 company. I flip this over here, and in the future, if I can fulfill more contracts for the number 1 company, like this one that's out here, 3 low-level cubes, I would be able to stack it on top of here. If I wanted to complete business with a different company, like this number 5 or this number 3 that's about to come out, I'm going to have to build some more stuff, so I've got a space to start a contract with a second company. All right, anyway. So that was my turn. I just made a ton of cash, and it is now Jen's turn. And like I said, she cannot create a new tea field because she's stuck in one already. So Jen is either going to have to move or take some money. She'll move again, and she will go hiking and climb all the way to the very tippy top. Okay, and since she only moved 1 space, it didn't cost her anything, and that was my turn. And it is now Jen's turn again. And hey, she's in a new place. She wants more tea fields. Does she want to let me harvest? Or does she want to give me access to technology? Let's see. And she can see that if she lets me harvest, I'll probably end up giving her another point to get more cubes. But also, I forgot. At the end of my turn, only after all the other players have gone, a new contract comes out with company number 3. 2 greens and a black. Okay. So, Jen's turn. What does she want to let me do? Harvest, get technology. She'll go on ahead and do this one. All right, she'll put that on top. So she is in a new zone. She is going to get some more tea fields up in the mountainous region now. And she's getting close to clearing out a space to have a third contract, or contracts with a third company, I should say. And that, again, cost her 5. She is almost completely broke now. Okay, and she has left me the opportunity to get technology or move or make money. And with that, let's get some technology. Because at the beginning of the game, Jen is in the lead on technology. And what that means is at the end of the game, for all the majority bonuses, if you're tied, the tie breaks based on tech. I am going to move up on the tech tree, which means I'm now in the lead. Ties break in my favor at the end of the game, unless Jen moves up. If you're on top of a given space, then you're in the lead again. But anyway, so I move up. I get 1 technology tile. And I had to pay 5 rupees for this. And as it mentions right here, every other player gets 1 rupee because, was it a rising tide floats all boats. So my breakthrough in tech gave everybody else some money. Okay, but I'm now in the lead over here. And if I keep on pushing my tech up, I'll get 5 points and then 5 more points if I'm up at the very, very top. Alrighty, so that was Jen's turn. She draws a card. And now it is my turn again. And sooner or later, I'm going to have to start moving and making more fields. That's absolutely crucial to do this. But in the meantime, what do I want to do? Well, now I have this technology. What that means is, on my turn, either before or after my main action, I can spend this to do any action I want. I can, all the actions you've seen, moving around, getting money, etc. The only action I can't do when I spend technology is going up the tech tree. So, what I could do, if I were so inclined, is, what would I do? I would play, say, my only opportunity to plant new fields, which is interesting. If I did not have a card to plant new fields, I wouldn't be able to plant them at all, except remember, technology lets you do whatever you want. But I'm going to go on ahead and play this. So I'm going to plant a field myself. Although, since I'm standing right here, I can't do it from the get-go. But before I'm actually going to do my core action I've declared, and I'm not going to move. I'm not going to spend money. Before I do that, I'm going to spend this tech I've got to do whatever I want. And the action I'm going to do is move. And again, I can move one for free, or I could move more if I wanted to. I'm just going to move right there. That was totally free. And I used my technology to get that bonus action. And now I'm going to do my main action, which is spend 5 rupees and claim some land of my own. Boom. So now I am on the board as well. Okay. And now I can do business with a second company. My turn is over, but Jen is just starting. She could start harvesting now. And I think she will. She's going to be pretty happy to do that. Jen is up on the highlands, so she gets 1 white cube. Nice. She will activate this one that's next to her, that belongs to her. She'll get a green cube. And what the heck? She'll activate my little lowlands one and get a black low-level cube, and I just got a point. And now Jen has got a nice little combination. If she could get 1 more green, she would be able to complete this contract, which is worth quite a bit more money than the quick and easy one I did, as you might imagine. So that was Jen's turn. And oops, and let's see. And at the end of my turn, of course, I draw a card. And it is Jen's turn, and she is going to draw a card, play a card, etc. Now, the game keeps going like this until either all the cards have been played or somebody has built up all of their T regions, and they've cleared all that out. Either one of those things will trigger the end of the game, and then at the end of the game, we will do area majority checks for all of the regions. And in a 2-player game, there are only 3 regions. With more players, there's an actual 4th region as well. Whoever has the most money at the end, and whoever has the most tech. And again, the ties on all of these, and these are big scoring things, is based on whoever worked their way highest on the tech tree. Also, the more unique companies we do business with, the bigger a business bonus we'll get. And for every tea leaf still on our board, because we didn't actually set up land, will lose points. And of course, whoever has the most points is the winner. And that is the basics of Ceylon. And I gotta say, there is a lot I really, really love about this game. The core action, I mean, we've seen this in a lot of games. Going back to Puerto Rico, so many games have been inspired by the, hey, I do an action and then everybody else gets to do an action on my turn. But the fact that I've got 6 actions potentially to choose from, and that's giving everybody else around the table access to 3 different actions, that is such a interesting, new and fresh and fun decision to make over and over and over again. And the thing is, as a 2-player game, it's fun, but this game is going to be so much more fun with more players. Jen, I liked it a lot, but I have a real problem with Ceylon's 2-player scaling. It is nowhere near as enticing or as exciting as it should be. Let's come back to the board. Closing off the top or the bottom region, which is what the rules say to do, means that the 3 remaining regions are super close. And because of that, you never really have to move around very much. You never have to pay a lot of money to move really far, especially since there's only 1 other player grabbing land. So, it would have been much wiser, I think, to close off this or this zone, so you have to walk a long ways north and south to cover all the regions. Because it's child's play to get a plantation in all of the 3 regions, because they're right next to each other. Because that's important. The first player to do that scores 10 points. Second player to do it scores 6. And there's just no way that's not going to happen. It's almost fait accompli that whoever's the first player will just be sure to do this and get those extra 4 points right from the get-go. It would have been much better to make the board split vertically instead of just keep everything so tight, because movement just becomes pointless. Plus, a lot of the cool special powers, which are to enhance movement, are completely useless. Like this one that makes it cheaper to move long distances. You never need to move long distance in a 2-player game. I'm really disappointed by that. I don't understand why they made that choice. Plus, this is a game where the more players you have, the more fun it's going to be, because in between your current turn and your next turn, so many interesting things can happen. You get access to really cool, big actions. Unlike Puerto Rico or other games inspired by it, you don't just get access to little weak versions of regular actions. You get full actions, and so you're constantly being surprised and trying to make the best use of all the gifts that your opponents are giving you every step of the way. Plus, of course, it's going to be a lot more fun with more players on the board. So when you're harvesting out of theirs, you're not just giving one player the extra points, you're spreading that around. That would be so much more cool with more players. And it's such a shame that they didn't tighten the board up a little bit, and they didn't just have us, as part of setup, put a 3rd player color out there so there's other plantations we can take advantage of. And while we're at it, do the very, very simple thing of creating an opportunity where, if I come in, if I only do a single thing, I get second place automatically. I should get nothing for being in second place if I only do a single thing, whereas the other player, there's so many games that have done this so much better. I gotta say, I like Ceylon a lot. The core gameplay is brilliant. It's such a smart action selection system. Really building on what other games have done, but some really, for two-player, in my opinion, short-sighted scaling issues really kind of hold it back for me and Jen. And that's a shame because it didn't have to be that way. Now, that said, don't get me wrong. It's a good two-player game, but it could have been a fantastic two-player game. And it's not. And that's the rundown, folks, on Ceylon, not sure. But thanks for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.